with athletic support for VVC Athletics. Please welcome Miss Amy Wilken.
Hi, everyone. So I'm the athletic trainer here at Victor Valley College representing the athletics department. So for this spring, things that are going to be happening, we're actually just starting off some transition and bringing back a few of our teams, some of our low risk teams, to give us a chance to work on that process. So for starting this semester, we will be bringing back men's and women's tennis and beach volleyball and men's golf are the 4 teams that we're bringing back. They're sports that are completely outdoors. Those students will not be permitted to enter inside any of the buildings other than to use restrooms. And we're just beginning to learn our plan of how to do that under these new conditions and as we progress with that. So here at Victor Valley College, under a normal year, we typically have 15 teams. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. And so what I'm doing is I'm just going to navigate through our website here at the college on how you find athletics. Under departments, oh, I know it goes a little slower when we're on here. There's athletics under the departments, and it takes you to the athletic website, which is a little bit different than the rest of the college's websites because we're mandated to work with what's called the CCCAA, the California Community College Athletic Association. And that's who we are governed by for California Community College Athletics. So like you hear about the NCAA or the NAIA or the big organizations for the four-year colleges, ours is the CCCAA. So this website is linked to the college's website, but like I said, it looks a little different. So here's the sports that we have at Victor Valley College. We actually have a pretty large athletic program in comparison to many community colleges here in California. We belong to the IEAC conference. That's the Inland Empire Athletic Conference. In that conference, us and College of the Desert are the 2 largest athletic programs within that conference. You know, we've pretty much got all the basic choices for sports. So hopefully we'll be returning things back to normal next fall, and we'll have our sports that are in the fall are cross country, both men's and women's cross country, football, men's and women's soccer, wrestling, and indoor volleyball. As far as crossing over the winter, we have men's and women's basketball. And then the spring sports are baseball, softball, men's golf, men's and women's tennis, and beach volleyball. Beach volleyball is our newest sport that we just started offering 3 years ago. So it's an emerging sport within the female athletics. So that's pretty exciting. We're still working on our site where they practice, things like that. The next thing that I wanted to show you in here is just talking about in the athletics department, our staff directory is in here, as well as our Title IX, which is our gender equity reports. And then if you're interested in becoming a student athlete, we do have a prospective athlete form that can be filled out, and this goes directly to the athletics department, and it gets sent out to the coach that you're expressing interest in that sport. Then we have under academics. Now this is an area, we do have a counselor that works with athletics because we are mandated to follow a bunch of other eligibility guidelines that come to us from outside from the state of California. So we do have Jackie Stocky is our athletic eligibility, and well, not eligibility necessarily, but our athletic counselor. So she's done a pretty good job of putting a lot of information on here, just on how to get started. This is her link. So that's Jackie Stocky right there. Great counselor. She's done a lot for us. And down and through here, she has all of her contact information as well as her Zoom drop-in to help you with your coursework, creating your ed plans. Something that's a little bit different, the reason why we have a different counselor too, is that she has to stay on top of whether or not you're going to be transferring playing sports at the four-year institution, whether it's NCAA Division I, Division II, Division III, NAIA. So she has to take into consideration the other requirements that you have to fulfill transferring as an athlete versus the classes that you're going to need to transfer for your academic side. So this is what her specialty is. And so she does a lot of work with our athletes, keeping you guys on track with fulfilling all of those requirements. She did play sports herself. She's a soccer player. I believe she played at Fresno State. So she's pretty involved in, oh, never mind. It says in there she played at UC Irvine. Yeah. So anyway, she was an athlete herself. She's pretty well aware of everything. But another great thing she's put in here is this link that's down here at the bottom of the page. So she's created a Canvas class on taking all of our athletes, and really any student could use this, kind of like it's a self-guided orientation to take you through everything. But what's really nice in here too is that at any time, if you need information just about eligibility, and eligibility for athletes, like I said, gets a little bit confusing at times, but she does a great job of breaking that down and what the rules are and things like that. So that's on there. Go back. Other things in that academics, I don't think there's too much else in there. The eligibility portion takes you directly to the CCCAA's website, and there's quite a bit of information on here as well, but we took you directly to anything that was some of the information regarding the eligibility requirements, especially transferring, like I said, between NCAA and NAIA. And then there's all of the community college eligibility rules about being in current 12 units. You have to be enrolled in and attending 12 units at any given time in order to be eligible to be competing. How do the contests count and seasons of sport, things like that. So quite a bit of information on here as well. Then we go into sports medicine. We haven't developed this one quite as much because we've had some changes in this department. We do have a team physician that oversees us, oversees our entire program and department, sees all of our athletes prior to playing. So we stay on top of that. I'm currently the only athletic trainer here. We did have one, she previously retired. We miss her greatly. So that will be changing our sports medicine area. And then also on this page, we have information regarding, we're updating as well to update our visiting team guides as well as campus map, things like that. So currently most of our sports do compete here on campus. The only team that has competed off of campus is golf, and football has through the years off and on. We are looking to bring football back on campus by building a stadium. That is in the works. It is a board approved project, but with, like most projects right now, things are a little bit stalled, but that is in the plan to bring football back on campus. Golf's over at Spring Valley Lake Country Club, so they're right behind us, so they really don't go far. We're very, very fortunate on this campus to have all of our teams being able to compete. There are many community colleges that don't have the size of campus that we do, and their athletic events are hosted at recreational parks, other areas like that. And like I said, we're fortunate here. Beach volleyball does go compete off, not up here in the high desert. They go compete at the beach. Or other areas that have very special beach volleyball courts that they compete at. So they don't compete on campus. And cross country obviously also does not compete on campus, because although we can host cross country on our campus, they just don't. They go to larger courses. We do host the high school playoffs here. Not playoffs, I guess you don't call them, but the high school tournaments for cross country, the finals for each one of the conferences are on our campus. So that's kind of a nice thing that goes on. I think that's pretty much as we needed on there. So I think we can start if there's any questions regarding athletics that anybody needs answered.
Great, thanks so much. Actually, we do have one asking if we currently have cheerleading, but have we ever had cheerleading here at VVC?
We did. So currently cheerleading is not covered by the CCCAA. It's not recognized as a California Community College athletic sport. We did in the past, it was a sport here. when you're talking about a sport, there has to be a coach, there has to be competitions, there has to be eligibility being followed. And so we currently do not do that, but no school does that with cheerleading in the California Community College system. So if they have a cheerleading program, it's typically done as a side type of program. We've had in the past, we've had clubs. We've had cheerleading clubs where they get together and they have a coach that oversees them. But we do not have a competitive cheer.
Okay, wonderful.